right now. I think most of the folks are here. I didn't get any feedback on anybody that was going to be running late, but I want to make sure everybody had an opportunity to capture this important, what I consider to be historic morning. Well, good morning. My name is Jared Woodfill. I think I know a lot of you. I've worked with you over the years on various issues. And today's an exciting day. It's an exciting day not just in Fort Bend County, but across the state of Texas. You know, over the past few months, many months actually, I've gotten to know my friend Judge K.P. George very well. And one of the things I've observed about him is that, first and foremost, he's a man who truly loves his family. He's committed to his wife and his children. He's a man of faith, someone who does not shy away from his strong Christian beliefs, someone who boldly professes what he believes. In my mind, and what I've seen over the years, he is a fiscal conservative. He is someone who will stand against the political opposition when it comes against it, regardless of what the cost may be. And what you have seen over the past few months is a Democrat-controlled district attorney's office that has been weaponized in an effort to take out a political opponent. It's the worst and the worst of government officials, an individual that would use their office in an effort to target or take out a political opponent. I think what Judge George is going to be able to tell you today is that he's seen a Democratic Party that has left him, that has left his values, that has left his core beliefs. And along with a long line of Republicans who are former Democrats, including Rick Perry, Phil Gramm, Ronald Reagan, I am pleased to welcome my good friend, Judge K.P. George, to the Republican Party. Judge, thank you. Thank you.
Too many microphones. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for being here in a quick note. I'd like to also thank my wife for 31 years, and she's an educator. And also my daughter sitting back there, her name is Sneha. She's actually aspired to be a medical doctor. She's starting her medical school in 3 weeks, actually. And thank you for being by my side. As I make the all-important announcement that I am officially joining the Republican Party. For the past few years, has become very clear to me, and also many others, that Democratic Party has become one of corrupt and radical political ideology and positions that simply do not reflect the values of Fort Bend County families and small businesses, also hardworking residents of Fort Bend County. I have always believed in foundational American principles of faith, family, and freedom. And I realize that the Republican Party that champions these values. In making this move, I'm joining, as Jared rightfully mentioned, a proud line of big people, like Ronald Reagan, President, Senator Phil Gramm, and Rick Perry, and many others recognized and made that changes. And I also wanted to leave you with this. I came to this country as an adult, and I am not born and raised neither Republican nor Democrat. And I choose a side, and it turned out to be the wrong place, and I'm fixing it, and that's what I'm doing today, and I want you to know that. As a Republican, I will continue to serve Fort Bend County with integrity, vision, and unwavering commitment to do what is right. And now, also I wanted to address something that many of you have seen and felt firsthand. The weaponization of government by radical Democrat right here in our county, Fort Bend County. Radicals like our Fort Bend County District Attorney, who has been brought and paid by the notorious George Soros, who funded the campaign. When Fort Bend County District Attorney and his fellow liberal elites realized I wasn't going to fall in line with their increasingly radical agenda, this is the solution they found: kick me out of there. and weaponizing, they have made it very clear. It wasn't about justice for me or the residents of Fort Bend County. It is about power. And I was even offered the entire charges against me would all go away if I resign and go. And that's a shame, really, for the people who are seeking justice in Fort Bend County. And I just wanted to share this very clearly. That is not my way, and that is not the Republican way. That is not the Fort Bend County way. And as you all know that, we just finished with an election, and they went after President Trump, and if they can come after me and people like me, and every citizen in Fort Bend County should be scared. And there are numerous examples I could talk to you in due time later. And that's why I just wanted to clearly state here, and I just wanted to let you know that, and let the media, let our residents know that I am not backing down, and I will not, because I haven't done anything wrong. Like President Trump, I will stand up and fight against the radical leftists who seek to tear down the values we hold very close to our heart, and in our nation, and in our state, and right here in Fort Bend County. Look into the future. This move actually doesn't just affect me and my family. And I am so happy to announce you here that it will also turn Fort Bend County Commissioners Court 3-2 to Republican majority. And I'm proud to stand along with the Republican Commissioners Andy Myers and Vincent Morales, and together we will press forward with the common sense conservative agenda that serves all Fort Bend residents. My priorities are very clear: and fix the broken political precinct map in Fort Bend County and restore fair representation for every resident, lower taxes and put more money back into the hard-working families, and rein in out of control Democratic spending in the upcoming county budget. And that is something you could check it up. 6 or 7 years ago, Fort Bend County's budget was around little lower than $400 million. Today, we are looking at around $732 million. That is an astronomical growth and spending. And some of the reason I am dealing with all this stuff, I said it is important we will stop this spending habit, and that's the reason why they said, okay, let's kick him out of there and put our own people so that we could continue this spending in Fort Bend County. And also ensure efficient, transparent government that work for the people, not for the politicians or their elite cronies. This is a new chapter in Fort Bend County. I made this decision because it is the right thing to do. And I made it because I believe Fort Bend County deserves better leaders who reflect its value, and not radical ideology from out-of-touch elites from the left. And we are a county, and we are a country built on faith, family, freedom. And as your county judge, I will ensure that those values will be protected and strengthened. And God bless you, God bless Fort Bend County, and God bless this great nation. Thank you.
Judge George, do you plan to run again in 2026 for county judge, and will you be presumably running as a Republican?
So why wouldn't I not run for? I'm the sitting county judge. I'm definitely looking to run. I'm going to be on the ballot.
Okay.
KP, you mentioned the names Phil Gramm, Rick Perry, Ronald Reagan as people who were Democrats that switched parties and ultimately were Republicans. Their position was a bit different from where you're at today. You're someone who is facing felony charges when they were not facing felony charges whatsoever. How are the people of Fort Bend County supposed to view this as a candidate or a judge who is in trouble with his own party as well as the legal system, viewing an opportunity switch parties to hold on for his political life.
Yeah, that's your way of looking at it, Mario. And you know what? It is. I'm going to go and talk to the people of Fort Bend County, and I will make my case. And you know that many times you don't even report these news accurately. You have an agenda when you report anything about me, and you continue to do that. And so, my answer to you is that, and I will go talk to the residents of Fort Bend County. They will ultimately decide. Whatever they decide, I will be absolutely gladly accepted.
And let me add one thing to that, though, while you brought it up, because I think it's important. The examples you gave, whether it be Rick Perry, he too was indicted by a renegade rogue prosecutor. Well, let me finish, please. He too was indicted. You have Donald Trump, where there was a slew of lawsuits and indictments against him in an effort. An office was weaponized. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, another example where the district attorney's office was weaponized in an effort to take out a political opponent. That's exactly what's happened to Judge George. You have a district attorney's office that's been weaponized in an effort using our public dollars to take out a political opponent.
Right, and Judge George, you did indicate there that you mentioned the district attorney and the weaponization of his office. The facts, unless I am mistaken, Judge George, the facts were they investigated your chief of staff first. And alleged wrongdoing involving yourself was discovered not while investigating you, but while investigating your chief of staff. So how do you make the jump, you personally, that they were specifically targeting you if they found wrongdoing while investigating another individual on a separate matter?
So now you, like you always do, Mario, you're trying to get into the details of the case. Since it is an open investigation or open case, I will defer that question to Jared.
And I simply asked, Judge, because you simply said...
So you're not happy about what I said?
No. I was following up, and
Okay.
I'm following up because of the fact that you indicated there was a weaponization of the DA's office, and you said they're coming specifically after you. But I'm looking back at the facts of what have been presented, sir. Yeah. And I'm asking for your opinion on it.
No, my opinion is, I have an opinion, but once I'm cleared from all this stuff, I will share it with you. But now I cannot talk about it. I refer that to Jared is standing next to me.
Judge George, we reported at Fox 26 about a month and a half ago that Fort Bend County Republican Chair Bobby Eberle would embrace your membership in the Republican Party as long as you stood for Republican values, worked for Republican values. He had conceded there was some skepticism among the rank and file Republicans in Fort Bend County. What is your message to them? How do you convince them that you have switched for the right reasons and that you see eye to eye with them and their priorities?
Yeah, absolutely. I laid out that details what I'm going to be prioritizing with two other commissioners on Fort Bend County Commissioners Court. It is very clear. One of the major issue Republican Party had an issue is the redistricting in Fort Bend County, and that's at the moment it is reviewed, and even at different level it is reviewed, and we will be in the process of hiring a outside counsel, and we will be looking into it so that we could make a redistricting which is fair to both parties, or even especially those who have any issues with that redistricting. And of course, another thing we are going to be doing, and one of the reason I got into this whole trouble is about spending in Fort Bend County. And I said we cannot spend this way. And I will ask you, Mario, you go and investigate a little bit about some of the spending happening on that Commissioners Court members, especially the Democrats. Go check and come back and talk to me about it, and I appreciate it. So what I'm saying is we are in the process of creating putting together a budget which is going to be a conservative budget, and you will see tax cuts so that we could put money back into the citizens of Fort Bend County. I mentioned that. And so various conservative values are going to be addressed and going to be presented to the people people of Fort Bend County, and I don't expect everybody is going to come and embrace and hug me and oh, come on over kind of thing. And I am looking forward to prove it to them. I'm going to be a better Republican than anybody in the in the coming months.
Just one follow-up on the redistricting. What do you see as unfair about how the lines are currently drawn in terms of disenfranchising or disproportional power sharing?
Right. And according to, first of all, that map was properly vetted when it happened. And also, I've been notified by some of the attorneys looking at it. It is racially divided, and which is illegal. We can draw the map for political reason, not for racial reasons. So there are numerous things need to be addressed into it, and I don't want to tell you all the details of it because I don't have, and people are looking into it, and as I understand, even Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is actually agreed to review the map. That's what I heard last, and so I believe there is a fair outcome is going to come out of all this discussion.
One follow-up. While you represent all citizens of Fort Bend County,
Correct.
You are a principal leader, a pioneer for Southwest Asian community.
Correct.
What is your specific message to them about this party switch?
And as you know, immigrant community at large, and they believe in God, family, and also conservative values, almost every aspect of it. And when you look at it, and that's what they believe in. And so they will understand, and I already had conversation with those communities, and they, first of all, they don't like what is happening in Fort Bend County. They choose to live here because this is a fair and wonderful county. And so they are upset about what is going on, and my message to that community is never fall into the conversation of Democrats and vote for the Democrats in Fort Bend County. That's my message, and I will make sure that message is sent out, and I will work hard to make that as one of the top message to the South Asian community at large. And I'm already started having that conversation, and I will continue to do that, make sure in Fort Bend County their voices are heard the level they deserve to be heard.
Judge George, what's your relationship like with Commissioner Myers? You indicated you have a 3-2 advantage now.
I work very well with Commissioner Myers because he is another conservative member on that court. And we have differences where we have agreements. That's how it works.
Do you view him any differently because of the fact that his complaints is what led to you being?
I don't see. He is a commissioner. He have the full right to do whatever he wanted to do as a court member, and we always respect each other, whatever the decisions they make, and I respect him and he respect me, and that's the relation. No, absolutely not. We have no problem. We have no problem working together. No, whatsoever.
Quick question for Judge Woodville. Look, Mario and all of the members of the media, we covered multiple cases of public integrity, alleged public integrity violations. We saw them dismissed in Harris County with changes changes at the district attorney's office, political pressure. How do you see this case unfolding in the next 3, 6, 8 months?
Well, great question. So, as you probably know, Friday we have a motion to recuse or disqualify at least one of the judges. There are 2 that have been filed. We don't believe that a sitting Fort Bend County judge whose salary he is responsible for voting on every single year, whose court he is responsible for funding every single year, who's recently gone before him asking for money for associate judges, that's just not appropriate for a judge in Fort Bend County to be hearing the case. That instead, we need to bring a judge from outside the county to hear the case. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I think with respect to the second case, the district court case or the felony case, there's some very, very serious flaws in the indictment itself. What we have is a situation, as Judge George described to you, Greg, is that they wanted him to cut a deal. They said just quietly go into that good night and leave. Let us pick somebody else to take your office, and this will all go away. Well, he said no. As a principled, strong, conservative man, he said, no, I'm going to fight the good fight. I'm going to be successful and maintain this office. So what happened? When he wouldn't take that deal, they said, okay, we're going to start looking. We're going to go through, I think it was 7 to 8 years of campaign finance reports and look for violations or mistakes. That's the worst in the worst. A DA that is looking for a crime, not a DA that has had a crime, alleged crime brought to them, but goes back through and calls through campaign finance reports to find a alleged crime. Next, look at Middleton's own. I mean, the guy needs to look in the mirror and start evaluating his own campaign finance reports, where over 500 violations were identified. Yet you don't see him prosecuting himself. So there's a two-tiered system of justice here in Fort Bend County. One for DA Middleton and another for everybody else. So just like the Hotze case, which is what you're referring to, which is a case, as you know, I handled in Harris County, you have a politically motivated prosecutor. I think when fresh eyes get on this case, or ultimately if a jury has an opportunity to hear the evidence, which we're not going to go over today, that they're going to see exactly what I've seen from day one, that it never was a case, that it's politically motivated in an effort to take out a political opponent. So I think it's a very weak case at best. It never should have been filed. And as you know, instead of going through the TEC and exhausting their administrative remedies, which you do in every other case, this particular DA decided to charge and then file with the TEC. So he treated Judge George differently than every other elected official. And he was able to then get a referral from the TEC. We don't think it was a timely referral, but ultimately all the rules were broken by this district attorney when it came to the prosecution of Judge George. And again, if it can happen to Judge George, who has the ability to defend himself, also in a public forum to defend himself, imagine the everyday citizen of Fort Bend County who just happens to get on the wrong side of DA Middleton. When they become the target, they don't have the resources to fight back. They don't have a media present to vindicate themselves or to tell their story. And so what you find in these cases, and we've seen all across the country, including with President Trump, is it's the indictment that they want to impact the election. They want the headline to say, such and such candidate indicted, and that's electioneering. It's an effort to influence the voters at the ballot box through the headlines.
Judge George, while Jared, who's very experienced as an attorney, does bring up the points about the charges, and you talk about the weaponization of the DA's office and all this, and as he indicated, you were indicted. It was citizens of Fort Bend County who indicted you for these charges.
Well, and let me address that too, because well,
Judge
you can
George.
ask them, but I'm going to answer it. So,
But why would you not
so
want to answer that question if
well,
you are?
you're asking Mario again. You're asking a legal question, okay?
I'm asking about the
So how does the
indictment. He was
grand
indicted.
jury process work? Is a defense lawyer there? No. The DA's office, and only the DA's office is there. They hear one side of the story. And I don't know if you've heard this old adage, but you can indict a ham sandwich. And so, and if you don't get them the first time, you go time and time again.
And I'm asking him, as the county
Well,
judge,
Mario,
and he's making, and
I am sure if they wanted to indict you, they could go in there, put on evidence, it might be totally bogus evidence.
understand.
You wouldn't be there to defend yourself. No one would be able to say, no, that is exactly wrong with the DA
presented
sending.
a defense packet?
No, I wasn't even on the case.
Oh,
and
that's right. So
and
his previous attorneys ever defended?
and they weren't even made aware of it.
So,
It was
but-
happening.
But the point being again is, at the
In
end
fact-
of the day, it was Fort Bend
Well,
County, isn't it?
yeah, but in fact, that whole process was flatedly flawed too. I mean, they didn't even they just at the last minute tried to make him the subject of the grand jury investigation, from what I understand. I wasn't the lawyer on the case at the time, but
That is accurate.
regardless, like we said, President Trump's been indicted.
Right.
Rick Perry had been indicted. Kay Bailey Hutchinson had been indicted. A whole host. Tom DeLay was indicted and ultimately had to go through this, and his case was reversed. And so that's the process they want you to go
And
through.
Judge George, you indicated in your speech, sir, that there was someone who told you, resign, and this will all go away.
Not someone, my attorney, has been informed if I resign, everything will go away.
Who said that?
The DA's office.
The DA himself said that to you?
I don't know about that, who he talked to.
I wasn't on the case at the time.
Yeah, and
This is
if
former lawyer.
this is the thing, Jared, if you come and tell me something, I'm not going to.
Right,
you're
right,
representing me.
regardless, okay. So,
Yeah,
what, any other
that's-
questions?
Yeah, I mean, we saw most recently in Harris County where District Attorney Sean Tier recused himself from a public corruption case and referred it to the Attorney General. Would you welcome review by Ken Paxton, Attorney General's office?
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
think this is a case where the district attorney should disqualify himself. Clearly, he is politically motivated by this prosecution. It has reeks of impropriety, at least the appearance of impropriety. And the DA has the option to recuse themselves. If you look at the Charette case, it's the big case that's gone up to the Court of Criminal Appeals, and it involves the same issue here, whether or not you have to first go through the TEC before you can indict someone. Well, in that case, the DA actually recused themselves voluntarily. That's exactly what DA Middleton should do. But he's not going to do that. So likely it's going to require us to file a motion for disqualification or recusal in this particular case. If he was do the right thing, he would say, look, I'm too close to this. We serve as elected officials together in Fort Bend County. Let's turn it over to the Attorney General's office or another DA's office. Because the big thing you look at in these particular types of cases, whether it be a disqualification or recusal, is not whether or not the person is partial or impartial, but how does it look to a reasonable member of the public? That's the standard that you're dealing with. But hey, I would publicly ask DA Middleton to recuse himself. I think that's in his office, that's in the best interest of the members of Fort Bend County. Let somebody else come in who has no political motivations, someone from outside the county. Let's bring in judges from outside the county, and so the public at large can be confident in the integrity of whatever result occurs.
Judge, you've had a lot of Democratic donors in the past. They have provided money to you in your campaigns. You have people that stood by your side, and you still have a war chest. Those people who have been your Democratic donors, do you plan to give the money back to them?
So I don't think I identify anybody as Democratic donors or Republican donors and things of that
You
nature.
ran as a Democrat, sir.
I did, and so I'm not decided on any of that stuff, and that we will discuss and decide
If
later.
a donor says to you, I'd like my money back because you're switching
Oh, if
parties,"
somebody asks that, definitely we will send it back because it's a contribution, and so I will leave it where that. And I also ask you, Mario, you asked me all this tough question. I want you to do the same thing with DA's office, and I want you to do the same thing.
We are following the facts of the case, sir, that we've seen.
Okay.
Yeah, well-
If you
Okay.
have facts you want to present to us in writing,
Okay.
by all means.
Okay, yeah, I will ask you to go and do some investigative reporting with them, and so then we could talk, in a fair way. And I don't think you are fair in this whole deal, so thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Any more questions?
Okay.
All right. All right, well, thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Follow up anytime.
Appreciate it.